Did you know that 1 out of 4 adults cannot read? Well, this episode is going to talk about how to help raise a reader. And also, by having a reader, your child is gaining more independence because this is another skill they can do on their own. I'm Tiffany Bakke of the Self-Motivated Child, and today we're going to talk about raising a reader. And I'm going to explain this to you in 5 easy steps. And you can start from your youngest infant, and there's no late time to start now if your child is a little bit older. Step 1, read every day and build it into your routine. And when you're doing that and you're taking time to read a book with your child, make sure that you're pointing out the author. You're pointing out the illustrator. When you're reading the book, perhaps before you start to read it, you take a picture walk to prepare your child for the text. And you can ask questions like, I wonder what this story is going to be about. And when you're reading and you pause in the middle, you could ask, what do you think is going to happen next? Other things you could do is ask, if you were this character, what would you do? If your child is younger, maybe you point out colors or you point out different things in the story. For example, this one with a younger child, I might point out the frogs and the moon, the branches. And you can do connection to self. How does the story make you feel? You can make connections to another story. Remember when we read this other book? Well, now we're going to read one that's similar to it or opposite to it. And you can make it connections to broader things as well. Step number 2, make books accessible. In my classroom, I have books that are on the shelf low for children to reach. When my daughter was young, even though she was an infant crawling around, I had books in a basket on the floor in her room. I had books in a bookshelf. I had books sitting on our coffee table to encourage that reading and that looking at books, that desire to do that. And often I would find her laying behind the rocking chair in her bedroom looking at books. Step number 3, go to the library. Some libraries have a wonderful setup for kids. Our public library has a helicopter in it where kids can sit in the little helicopter and read, and in the back part are little bookshelves. There are different games anchored to the wall. There's dress-up clothes. There's a writing station. So going to the library and seeing different things that are offered, browsing the different books. Sometimes you may go with a theme in mind of books you want to get. Like if your child was noticing a bird nest hanging in your wreath on the front door, and maybe you decide to go and get books on types of birds, the life cycle of a bird, what birds eat, what else flies in the air. So you can go broadly and just look at books or go with a theme. Step 4, you want to follow your child's desire to read and the different types of books. So have different types of books available. You'll want to have fiction and nonfiction books. So here's a nonfiction book, and it has photographs and such. But another nonfiction book I have is drawings, but it still has that factual information. And then of course, I have a bunch of different fictional type books. You want to offer maybe for some of your readers, some may want more of a graphic novel type book or a chapter book. Your beginning readers, you can find a bunch of books like this. And then they also have them in nonfiction. And then there's beginning chapter books for those newer readers as well. If your child's entering like kindergarten, first grade, these beginning chapter books. So having a variety of books. My son is really drawn to graphic novels, so I do have a lot of graphic novels, but I also at times say, this time take a break from the graphic novel and I'd like you to read a chapter book instead. So following their desire, but at the same time, every once in a while pausing and giving suggestions for other types of books as well. But overall, you want them reading. So, if they're really adamant about not reading a book you're suggesting, follow their desire of what they are reading. And I just showed books. If your child sees a newspaper and picks it up and reads that, if you have magazines around your house, those also are good opportunities to read. Reading labels off of food packages in the store, that's more reading. Reading environmental signs like the stop sign, a school sign that's maybe printed on the road. So all of these are reading and seeing different texts. And then lastly, read yourself. The best way to raise a reader is by your child seeing you model it. And so when they're sitting down to look at a book, take a little break yourself and read a book, but model it. And you'll find that it's nice to escape reality for a little bit and immerse yourself in a book as well. When you make books available, your children are going to want them, and they're going to ask for more, and they're going to start reading and asking more questions, and you can say, I don't know, let's go look it up in a book. And you've started raising a reader. You're well on your way. If you like what you have seen so far, be sure to subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, follow me on Facebook at Tiffany Bakke.